Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is part 2 of the video that I made earlier, and it's called African People, Why Are You So Gullible? And we're talking about religion. So if you're gonna watch this video, this is part 2 of the first video that I did. It just stopped midway through, so I just thought I'll finish it up properly. Anyway, I didn't have much long to say anyway, but religion was introduced to Africans, and Africans will just reign with it. We never question it, we never examine it, and we were told by the people that gave us this religion that our African traditions and culture were pagan. Those were pagan beliefs and do not believe in all that stuff. And how disrespectful is it to our forefathers and our ancestors to totally annihilate, totally wipe out our African tradition and culture that we have practiced for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions of years, in favor of a religion that was introduced to us by the people who today no longer believe in it. Like I said in the first video, Christians, the Jews right now in Israel do not believe in Christianity. They do not even read the same book, the same Bible. They do not believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God. They don't believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. So these are the Jews, the chosen people. And you, as an African, how can you justify believing in a Jesus that you've never seen? No black person is attributed in being any of the authors of the Bible. No black person has ever written in a Bible. No African person has ever written a Bible or any books of the Bible. How do you justify being a Christian? None of your ancestors ever wrote the Bible. I've never seen anybody from Zimbabwe mentioned in the Bible. I've never seen anybody from South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, Congo, Malawi, Zambia mentioned in the Bible. How do you justify following this book? Right about now, Christianity is the fastest growing religion in third world countries. Why is that? Here in the UK, I live in the UK. In the UK, nobody goes to church. Only black people goes to church. Most English people do not even believe in religion or believe in God, believe in Jesus, or even read the Bible. Most churches are being converted into restaurants, bars, and houses because nobody is going there. Nobody believes in that. The Bible, the King James Version, is owned by the Queen. But the Queen herself hardly goes to church. How do you justify you being a Christian with a foreign religion that you've got absolutely no idea about? In the first video, I gave you an outline of how religion started, how Christianity started. Like I said, next time, because I think the best way, because I've kind of found out like the more I talk just by talking, people might not even take me seriously when I'm just chatting. So I'm going to start giving lectures and presentations with factual information. So it becomes actually a class. So you have a proper Bible study, a proper Christian religion study. So you can understand where the philosophy, the religion, the Christian philosophical concepts came from, their ideas, how everything came to be how it is right now. Black people, why are we so gullible? What's wrong with our African traditions and culture? Right now, these days, people look down upon our traditions and culture. Black people. But you know the funny thing is, and this is really, really funny, most Europeans show more interest in African culture and tradition than Africans do. Most Europeans spend more time studying, understanding, learning from African tradition and culture more than you Africans. While you're too busy reading the Bible, the Europeans are learning what your ancestors have been teaching you. While you're too busy saying Jesus, God, this and that, and going to church, reading your Bible and all that, the Europeans are spending more time learning all your ancestral wisdom. Because Africa has got so much wisdom, so much sacred knowledge, that if you take your time to study, listen, practice, you will learn. You will learn everything that you need to know about life, about cosmology, about metaphysics, about science, about medicine, about spirituality, everything. Everything. Our ancestors, they knew that if you want knowledge to be sacred, knowledge can never be written down. You can never put sacred knowledge on pen and paper. It loses value and it can be misconstrued, mistranslated. Knowledge is written and inscribed in your heart. Knowledge is written in your heart. That's why knowledge, sacred knowledge and sacred wisdom, ancestral wisdom, African wisdom was passed on from one generation to another generation orally, through verbal, through talking. That's how you pass on and that's how you learn knowledge. Things that are written on paper can be mistranslated and you might not even understand them. I made a video before that a lot of people do not understand and they do not even know. Christians themselves, they do not even know that the Bible was written esoterically and exoterically. Those are two words that anybody who claims to be a Christian has to be very, very familiar with. Esoteric and exoteric. Esoteric, ESOTERIC, and exoteric with an X. Esoteric knowledge is something that is hidden. Some people call it occult knowledge, but it's something that is hidden. And exoteric is the literal, is something that you can read, but it's literal. And that's how the Bible was written. While you're too busy reading the literal words that are written on the Bible, for example, that Moses went to the mountain and he got the 10 commandments, or then Noah built an ark and then he put all the animals, or that Abraham wanted to kill his son, or Jesus walked on water, or Elijah went to heaven with the chariot of fire, whatever. These are literal, these are exoteric languages. But underneath those stories, there is knowledge, which is called esoteric or hidden knowledge. Because those are all mythological, symbolical, metaphorical, allegorical stories. But underneath, there is truth underneath it. But you're not going to get that in church. You're not going to get that in books, because it's a hidden knowledge. Only people that are initiated to know this knowledge will know this knowledge. So, but here's the funny thing is, all the knowledge that is in the Bible, everything that is written in the Bible is common knowledge in African ancestral wisdom. In Africa, we knew how the universe was created. We know what God is. We know what God is, because God is a creating process. We know this. God is not a thing. There are so many gods. And what do you say God? We're talking about powers, governing forces, natural governing forces. That's why there is a natural governing force of the rivers, God of the rivers. That's why there's a natural governing forces of the mountains, God of the mountains. That's why there's a natural governing forces of the lakes, the plants, God of the lakes, God of the plants. We understood that every single thing in existence has got a natural governing force behind it. And we're all talking about energy anyway. We understood this concept. And everything is embedded in African tradition and culture. But we're too busy running to a religion that we've got absolutely no idea where it originated from. What is it all about? And we defend this religion. We defend this religion passionately, but we do not know nothing, zero about it. I had a discussion before, conversation before, with one African guy. He's a proper Christian. And I said to him, I asked him a question. I said, my brother, do you believe in Jesus? He said, yeah, I believe in Jesus. Yeah, Jesus is my savior. Yeah, Jesus, Son of God. Yeah, Jesus is my God. And I say to him, what evidence have you got that Jesus ever lived? And he said, what do you mean? The look at his face. Yeah, he looked at me as if I'm talking a foreign language or an alien language or something. I said, what evidence have you got to support that Jesus Christ existed? And he said, well, it's in the Bible. I said, it's in the Bible. I said, yeah, it's in the Bible. And I said, do you know who wrote the Bible? I said, and he said, well, prophets and disciples. And I said, do you know any of these people personally? And do you know, what evidence do you know that they ever existed? And he said, well, their names are in the Bible. So obviously, I wasn't going to go anywhere with this brother because he was absolutely clueless. He did not know where the Bible came from. Genesis. Who wrote Genesis? It couldn't be Moses because Moses came after. It couldn't be Adam. It couldn't be Eve. Who wrote Genesis? Who was there when God was creating the universe in 7 days? Who was there to witness that? But you're just going to believe it because it's in the Bible. You're just going to believe it's in the Bible. Even something that you know that it does not make any sense at all, and it's impossible. Story of Noah. There was a flood and Noah built an ark and they put all the animals. He put all the animals in this ark. Now I want you to forget about your religion, forget about your beliefs. I want you to use your logic and reasoning. How do you put all the animals in the whole world in one ark? How do you put elephants, giraffes, tigers, lions, crocodiles, everything, kangaroos, everything, snakes in one place? How do you do that? But your Bible says the two of each, yeah, two of each, male and female, whatever, right? And it was put in an ark. You see, it does not make any sense. And especially if you take it exoterically, literally, it does make sense. I know what it means. I'm gonna give you a lecture one day, but we're talking esoteric. Here we're talking about something totally different. We're not talking about animals. It's a mythological story. There was never a person called Noah. There was never an ark. There was never. It is a way of telling you metaphysical or cosmological things. It is a way of explaining involution and evolution. Right? I know you're probably clueless, but I'm going to give you a lecture next time, because with you guys, I'm going to have to be teaching you things, because me talking like this, it's not going to help. It's just not going to cut it, because you're not going to get it. I'm going to give you proper lectures, basic lectures, presentation, and in narration, and clearly explaining to you everything, because that's how I'm going to have to give you a proper Bible study, because you're not going to get it from your church leader. You're not going to get it from your pastor. You're not going to get it from your man of God's, because they are clueless. They've got absolutely no idea. They teach you beliefs, superstitious beliefs, and you're just following along. As long as you're happy, you're okay with that. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a fact, you do not need to believe in Jesus. You do not need to believe in God. And your life is going to be okay. It's going to be even better, because you're going to be free from the chains of expectations. You're going to be free from the chains of religions. You're going to be free from the chains of Christianity. You're going to be yourself. You need to start taking credit, giving credit to yourself. You've got everything that you need in order to be successful in your life. You do not need a Bible to be successful in your life. You do not need a Jesus or a God to be successful in your life, because you are it. There is only one thing in this whole creation. There is no other thing. There's only one thing. And that thing, call it God, call it whatever, you are it. There is nothing outside of you. Our ancestors knew that. Your ancestors knew that. Go back to your African tradition and religion. African tradition and culture. Everything. Go and talk to your father. Go and talk to your grandmother, who is not a Christian, and he will tell you everything that you need to know. You've got the potential, you've got the capability of attracting anything that you want in your reality. There is nothing that is beyond you. Religion limits you. You are limited by your beliefs, and you do not understand why you are not progressing in life. Why in Africa we're still stagnant economically, politically, and socially. Because religion is blocking us from development. Do you know what happened? In Europe, there's a period that was called the period of Renaissance, or period of Renaissance, and the period of enlightenment. This was a period when Protestantism was developing, and this is when people shy away from religion. People start using logic and reasoning. It is now, if you go back to history, it is called the age of enlightenment, and we're talking about the 17th, 18th, 19th century. But the pinnacle of it was the 18th century. It is called the period of enlightenment. Do you know why? Because Europeans were moving away from the religion. Because when you move away from religion, you start to think beyond the box, outside the box. You start to believe in yourself. You start to believe in you, in logic and reasoning. You're not going to believe in a Jesus out there, in a God out there, in angels and demons and all that. There is no demons. There's no angels. There is you. There is only you. Only you can make anything possible. Because you have to remember, you are not your flesh and bones. You are a divine essence. You are an energy which is conscious. This conscious energy was there in the beginning of the beginning, is here, and will always be here, there. It is the Alpha and the Omega, and you are it. You've got the divine capabilities of doing anything. That's why I keep on saying to you guys, you are God. It's not a heresy. It's not a heresy. It is truth, absolute truth. Put away your beliefs, your belief that you've been indoctrinated into, and start looking at things logically and with reasoning. And you come to the conclusion that you are God. Our ancestors knew that. Our ancestors knew that. They did not pray to God, ancestors. What our ancestors did, and if you really pay attention to African tradition and culture, we did what's called ancestral veneration. And ancestral veneration is not ancestral worship. Ancestral veneration is you accepting and understanding that when somebody dies, it's only their physical body that has died, but they are still alive in another realm or in another dimension, especially in upper dimension. There are 7 dimensions. Well, beyond the physical dimension, the physical reality that we are in, that's where creation is, which is the mineral kingdom, the animal kingdom, the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the human kingdom. There are 3 other dimensions up there, which is the etheric, which is the astral, and the mental state or mental dimensions. These are higher realms of existence. And our ancestors knew that when a spirit dies, some spirits go beyond our realm. They go to an advanced upper realm where there is knowledge, where there is enlightenment. And for you to seek guidance and enlightenment here in this physical reality, you consult the people that are, or the spirits that are in other advanced dimensions for help, for guidance. That's what our ancestors used to do. So when they are talking to dead people, they're not talking to dead people. They're talking to alive people. Going to a burial site and all that is just a ritual. But the essence, the real story behind it, the reality of it is talking and communicating with ancestral spirits that are in an advanced dimension. That's all it is. That's all it is. We've got so much to learn from African tradition and culture. The Bible and Christianity and religion will never teach you anything. One, because it was written in 2 ways. It was written in a way that you do not understand, which is exoteric. They gave you stories, mythological stories, allegorical stories. And you are too busy following and believing in the allegorical stories, in the mythological stories. But you're not paying attention to the allegory. You're not paying attention to the myth behind it, to the real truth behind it. And that real truth behind it is what we Africans have known for thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. Okay? So African people, why are we so gullible? We do not have to be gullible. It is the age of reasoning. It is the age of thinking. It is the age of knowledge. It is the age of research. Go and find out. Read books. Question things. You do not have to just follow. You do not have to be just a sheep. Come out of that comfort zone. Come out of that illusion and be yourself. Be yourself. That's what your ancestors would have loved. That's what your ancestors are waiting for. And we Africans, if we do that today, Africa is going to change overnight. Economically, politically, socially, we're going to change overnight. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is part 2 of the video. African people, why are we so gullible? I've done part 1 and this is part 2, and it's a really, really long video, okay? But I had so much things to say. But to summarize this video, we African people, we do not need to be gullible. We do not need to believe in religion. This is a foreign religion that was given to us, to our ancestors, and we do not need and it was given to our ancestors through violence and force. They did not have choice, most of them, and most of them were tricked and manipulated into believing this religion. We do not need to believe it in this religion, especially in this 21st century, the age of information, the age of research. Everything that you need to know, all this knowledge that I know, I did not get them from anywhere else. I read books, I research things. That's how I get to know this information. That's how I'm sharing this information with you. It's because I read these things and I keep on researching these things, okay? And you can do the same thing. You do not need to believe in religion. The people that gave you religion, like I told you, in people in Israel, they are not Christians. They do not believe in Jesus. They do not believe in the Bible. They don't believe Jesus is the Messiah, but you do. Why? You don't have to. In UK right now, nobody goes to church. They're turning church buildings into houses, into clubs, into restaurants, because nobody's going to church. Okay, so you ask black people, I know we're gullible, but why are we gullible? We do not have to be easily be persuaded. Okay, it's time for us to regain our consciousness. It's time for us to regain our power. Let's go back to our African traditions and culture, and we're going to conquer the world, and we're going to change ourselves, and we're going to change our communities, and we're going to change our countries, and we're going to change our continent. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully you have a good day. All right. Okay, bye-bye.